The day my niece turned 18, she stood in my kitchen and told me I had stolen her childhood. She said it calmly, the way you tell someone the milk has gone bad. Her new perfume was sharp and floral. I had bought her that perfume for Christmas, the same one her mother used to wear before the aneurysm took her in 2009. Madison did not know that. She did not know a lot of things. She did not know what her mother left her, or who held the key, or that the door I had kept open for 14 years was about to go very, very quiet. My name is Carol. I am 63 years old. I never married, never had children of my own, and I retired 3 years ago from a small elementary school in the same town where I was born. For most of my life, the loudest thing in my house was the kettle. Then, in 2009, my sister Diane died on a Tuesday afternoon while folding laundry. An aneurysm, the doctor said. She was 34. Her daughter Madison was 4. I remember the funeral home smelled like cold lilies and floor wax. Madison wore a navy dress with a small white collar. She asked me when her mommy was coming back. I told her soon. I did not know what else to say to a 4-year-old in a funeral home. I have thought about that lie for 17 years. Greg, her father, came to the service late. He wore a wrinkled jacket and stood near the back. He did not cry. He hugged Madison once, a stiff hug, the kind you give a coworker. Then he left before the casseroles came out. He had been gone since she was a baby, and he stayed gone. Every year on her birthday, I waited for a card. Every year, nothing. I became her mother in every way that counts and none of the ways that matter on paper. I packed her lunches. I learned to braid hair from a video on the internet. I sat on the bathroom floor with her at 2 a.m. when she had the flu. I held the bowl. I sang the song Diane used to sing, the one about the moon and the spoon, even though I never had a good voice. There were small things that hurt back then in a way I did not understand yet. The first time Madison called me Mom by accident at a school pickup, she froze, and then she corrected herself loudly so the other kids would hear. She said, "I mean Aunt Carol." The other mothers smiled politely. I smiled politely. I drove home and made spaghetti and did not mention it. That night I cried while I rinsed the colander. I do not know why the colander. It just happened there. When she was 11, she went through a phase where she wanted a cheap silver necklace from the mall, a tiny heart on a thin chain. I bought it for her birthday. She wore it every day for 2 years. She lost it in the 7th grade and cried so hard I thought she was hurt. I told her we would find another one. We never did. I still see that necklace in my head sometimes, the way it sat crooked on her collarbone. When she was 15, she sat across from me at the kitchen table one Sunday morning and told me she did not want to be here anymore. Not in the house. Here, on the earth. I felt my hands go cold around my coffee cup. I did not panic in front of her. I called her doctor on Monday. We found a therapist. We found medication. We found a way back. For 3 years, she let me sit with her in the waiting rooms. She let me hold her hand during the hard appointments. She told me once that I was the only person who never made her feel like a problem. I kept the receipts for everything, not the financial receipts, the other kind. The school plays where I sat in the 3rd row, the braces, the prom dress she changed her mind about twice, the college applications we filled out at this same kitchen table, her chewing the end of a pen, me reading essay drafts out loud. She got into her first choice. I cried in the car after I dropped off the deposit check. I did not tell her. Then Greg came back. It was a Thursday in March. Madison was home for spring break of her senior year of high school. Her phone buzzed during dinner. She looked at the screen for a long time. She said, "It is my dad." I set down my fork very carefully. I asked if she wanted to answer. She did. He had a new wife now. Her name was Brittany. He had a beach house in Delaware. He had a Range Rover. He had apparently found God, or therapy, or money, or all three. He told Madison he had made mistakes. He told her he wanted to know her. He told her he could not undo the past, but he could be there now. He said it in that voice men use when they have practiced the speech in the mirror. Madison glowed at the dinner table that night. I had not seen her glow like that since she was small. I told her I was happy for her. I meant it the way you mean it when you are watching something you love walk toward a cliff, and you cannot say cliff out loud, because then you become the villain. For 2 months, it was constant. Texts, calls, a weekend in Delaware. Brittany sent her a designer purse. Greg sent her a photo of a bedroom he had set up for her in the beach house. White walls, fairy lights, a view of the dunes. He told her he had been thinking about her every single day for 18 years. I do not know if Madison believed him. I know I did not. I also know that it did not matter what I believed. The week of her 18th birthday, she told me she was moving out. She said it standing in my kitchen, by the same table where we had filled out college applications. She said, "I think I need space to figure out who I am without you." I asked her what that meant. She said, "You controlled my childhood, Aunt Carol." I did not even realize it until now. I remember the refrigerator was humming. I remember there was a coffee stain on the counter I had been meaning to wipe. I remember thinking, very clearly, that I was about to do the hardest thing I had ever done, which was to not defend myself. I told her I loved her. I told her the door was open. I helped her carry 2 suitcases to Greg's rental car at the curb. Brittany waved at me from the passenger seat with the kind of small, sorry smile women give each other in grocery store parking lots. Greg did not get out. He nodded at me through the windshield. I nodded back. Madison hugged me quickly, the way you hug a coworker. Then she was gone. She blocked my number 3 days later. I found out through a mutual friend, Linda, whose daughter went to school with Madison. Linda called me awkward, careful. She said Madison had told her daughter that I had controlled her whole childhood, that I had isolated her from her father, that I had made her feel guilty for wanting a real family. Linda said, "I just thought you should know, Carol." I thanked her. I made a fresh pot of coffee after we hung up. I poured it down the sink without drinking it. I do not know why I made it. For a while, I waited for the door to open again on its own. It did not. I did not chase her. I did not send long emails. I did not show up at the beach house. I did not call Greg. I did not tell Linda's daughter to pass anything along. I did the only thing I knew how to do, which was nothing, loudly and in private. There were days that were almost normal. I went back to my book club. I started walking in the mornings with a woman named Eileen from down the street. I planted tomatoes. I gave away a box of Madison's old stuffed animals to the church, and then drove back 2 days later and asked for them back, and the woman behind the counter did not say a word. She just handed me the box. I put them in the closet in Madison's old room. I closed the door. I did not open it again for a long time. There were also days I would catch the smell of her perfume in a store, that sharp floral one, the same one Diane used to wear, and I would have to sit down on a bench by the registers and pretend to look at my phone. Here is what Madison did not know. When Diane died, she did not leave very much. She had been a school nurse. She rented a small house. She drove a Honda with 140,000 miles on it. But she had one thing she had been quietly building since the day Madison was born: a trust. Not enormous. Real. She had named me the guardian and the administrator. She had named Madison the sole beneficiary. And she had set 2 conditions in writing, in plain language, in front of a lawyer, in 2007, 2 years before she died. The first condition, the funds would distribute when Madison turned 25, not 18, 25. Diane had been very clear about that. She had told the lawyer she did not want her daughter handed a check at the same age she would be handed a diploma. The second condition. The distribution required a documented, ongoing relationship with the named guardian at the time of distribution. The lawyer had used the word documented twice in the meeting. Diane had nodded both times. I am the named guardian. I have not changed the terms. I am not legally able to change the terms. Diane wrote them the way she wrote everything, quietly and exactly. For 14 years, I administered that trust. I worked with the same lawyer Diane had used. I moved it into safer instruments after the 2008 crash had scared her. I let it grow. I never touched $1 of it for myself. Not when the roof needed repair, not when my car died in 2016, not when I had to take an unpaid leave to sit with Madison during the hard year she was 15. The trust was not mine. It was hers. I treated it the way I treated her hair when she was little, with both hands and full attention. Madison did not know about it. Diane had asked me not to tell her until she was at least 21, so that she would not grow up waiting for a number. I kept that promise. I never mentioned it. Not when she worried about college costs, not when she asked if we could afford the prom dress, not when she was filling out financial aid forms at this kitchen table. I told her we would figure it out. We always did. Greg does not know about it either. Brittany does not know. The beach house does not know. The Range Rover does not know. Madison is 20 now. In 5 years, on her 25th birthday, she will either have a documented ongoing relationship with the named guardian, which is me, or she will not. If she does, the trust her mother built for her will be hers. If she does not, the terms are clear. The funds revert. I have not told her this. I am not going to tell her. I am not going to send a letter that says, "Come back to me or you lose the money." That is not what Diane built it for. That is not what I have spent 17 years protecting. The whole point was that the relationship had to be real. A relationship built on a deadline is not a relationship. It is a contract. Diane knew the difference, so I wait. I keep walking with Eileen in the mornings. I keep the tomatoes alive. I keep Madison's old room closed most days, open on Sundays for reasons I do not entirely understand. I keep a single photo of her on the refrigerator from when she was 9, missing a front tooth, holding the cheap silver necklace up to the camera the day she got it. I have not taken it down. I have not added a new one. Sometimes Linda calls with updates I did not ask for. Madison and Brittany had a falling out last Christmas, something about a comment at dinner. Greg and Brittany are renting out the beach house now. Madison has changed her major twice. She is living in an apartment with 2 roommates. She works at a coffee shop on the weekends. She is, by all accounts, fine. She is, by all accounts, finding herself. I hope she does. I have not chased her. I have not changed the locks. I have not changed the terms. I have not closed the door. I have simply stopped knocking on it. And every morning when I make my coffee, in the same kitchen, at the same table, I think about the woman who folded laundry on a Tuesday afternoon in 2009 and never finished the load. I think about what she trusted me with. I think about the necklace and the colander and the navy dress with the white collar. I think about the perfume in the store. Then I rinse my cup. I put it upside down on the rack. I go on with my day. The door is open. The light is on. The kettle is full. I am still here,